We'll begin laying down in Shavasana with your head facing towards the front of the room. And begin by just taking a couple of breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Beginning to arrive here in this space. Today's class is about finding or cultivating a new perspective. So as you settle in and begin to arrive, to become present here, just listening for a moment to the introduction to this class and thinking about maybe what the new year usually means to you. So if we think about, in general, there's a lot of pressure or uh, talk about the normal New Year's resolution to resolve to do something new in this year. And January is kind of a funky time to be setting a resolution for a new cycle. We're still in the middle of winter, and it's still a time to uh, be turning inward. We're in a new cycle of a calendar year, but we're still in the middle of this nature cycle of winter, of slowing down. So instead of looking at this as a time to start something new, to birth something new, think of it maybe as a time to look at what's here in a different way, to still cultivate the introspection of winter, of the seasonal cycle. We're still feeling tired from the holidays. We're still in the cold and it's still dark, even though we're turning towards the light. It's still kind of dark out. Our days are still pretty short and we want to rest more, and we should be resting more during this time. So instead of looking at this start to this calendar year as a time to grow, a time to move forward, think about maybe what you can carry with you and through the rest of the cycle, where you may want to begin to focus energy. How we can begin to look at situations that we may have encountered multiple times, emotions, feelings, sensations in our body throughout our practice that may arise, and how we can maybe look at those with a new perspective. Still looking at what's coming up without wanting to change it necessarily, just look at what it is and how you can interact with it, maybe in a different way, how we can shift the lens here to maybe gain a new insight about ourselves, about how we move through the world, and carrying that into this new calendar year in 2024. So taking a moment here to think about your intention for today's practice and how this intention is an offshoot of a bigger, broader sense of what you feel called to be devoted to do with your life. Sounds like a big ask, but just beginning to maybe tune into that, into your sankalpa, which is a heartfelt devotion. What is your true purpose here? What do you feel called to do? And if that's something that you are unsure of, seeing if you can just be open to listening, to seeing what comes forward. And then when you're ready, meeting me in a seated position, facing the front of the room. And we'll begin in fire log. So bringing the right ankle to the stack on top of the left knee, and the shins parallel. You may want to place a block or a pillow or a blanket, maybe a towel if you're at home. Closing that gap and providing a little bit of support. You can also just take Sukhasana if that feels better to you. Thinking about having a nice long spine here. Shoulders dropping down away from the ears. And feeling into sinking the hips into the earth. Loosening up our roots. Finding our breath. If you'd like to change your breath, creating an even inhale and exhale, or maybe extending the exhale, here you can. Only if it brings you more comfort. Finding a way to be still here. We'll work a little bit with affirmations today. Our first one, I welcome new perspectives, finding insight in every experience. I welcome new perspectives, finding insight in every experience. So to talk a little bit more about our Sankalpa, this is a heartfelt devotion, a calling, if you will. And this may be something that's come forward through meditation throughout your life. Whatever you feel that your heart is calling to do, to experience. Tuning into that as a broader resolution for your entire life or for this year. If you'd like to use it for the year, you can set a sankalpa on a smaller scale. We'll release, shake the legs out, and move to the opposite side. So this time, stacking the left ankle on top of the right knee, using any props that you need to support yourself here. Notice how you may be different on one side than the other. You may feel different, different sensations may arise. So as we think about this broader scope, as this is our first class of 2024, our first practice, whatever that one word or act of kindness, maybe, whatever you're devoted to for this period, however long it might be, when you arrive on your mat for each practice, or when you start your day or your week or whatever cycle you move into where you're setting an intention, thinking about that intention being an offshoot of this larger idea, bigger picture. So each time coming to your practice, whatever it is, with this intention, working towards, taking action towards your sankalpa. And if this is the first time you've thought about what your sankalpa might be, that's okay. If it's too much to think about in this moment, that's okay too. Allow it to sit with you to see if you can look at it in a new way later when the time is right, to tune in and listen to what's calling to you. Slowly release any props, unwinding, and maybe windshield wiper the knees back and forth, knees bent, or shaking the legs out a little gently. We'll move into child's pose. Folding over the sides of your mat or using a blanket to support the knees if you have any knee sensitivity. We'll be taking a wide-legged child's pose here, so bringing the knees width of the mat, big toes together, sinking the hips down towards the earth, and walking the hands out in front towards the top of the mat. Allow the chest to come towards the earth, forehead to meet the mat or come to a block. Maybe you want to grab your bolster here, placing a block underneath so that you can rest here on your bolster, a more supportive posture. Wherever you are today, not looking at where you think you need to be, but where you can be fully supported here, fully held, to open your heart to the earth, to connect. Our affirmation, each breath brings clarity and a deeper understanding of myself. Each breath brings clarity and a deeper understanding of myself. Gaze comes towards the hands and we'll be moving into Sphinx pose. So, however you'd like to get there, bringing the belly to the mat, elbows underneath the shoulders, forearms pressed into the earth. Draw the shoulder blades together, opening the heart center here. And gaze can come between the hands. You can close your eyes, leave them open. Bring your forehead to a block. Let the head hang heavy. Finding a position that feels good to you in this moment. Here, as we open our heart centers, and we connect our solar plexus with the earth, seeking the earth's wisdom to empower us, moving that energy into the heart center and allowing it to be nourished, to soften. Often when we're thinking about the beginning of the year and we're making resolutions or intentions, They sometimes come from a place of how I can do better to fix something that I think that I'm doing wrong or that I'm not doing good enough. Maybe letting our hearts be soft here to become warm and gentle, and to shift our view to how can I just be more in tune in the moment, be more present and connected to my truth, knowing that it's going to change and shift and grow and flow. So just allowing yourself to be here and to let whatever is arising to be held, to find compassion for yourself, to know that you are enough just as you are. You are worthy just as you are. Exhale, slowly lower down, bringing the forearms to be crossed at the top of the mat, resting your forehead here for a couple of breaths. Exhale, releasing any worries, anything weighing heavy on your heart here. We'll move into half Buddha. So rolling onto your side. Again, the blanket may be comfortable as a little cushion for your hip here. Elbows stacked underneath the shoulder and forearm pressed into the earth. Hips stacked, ankles stacked, knees stacked. Flexing the toes towards the face. Closing the eyes. Feeling into the opening on the right side body. If at any time this becomes a little too much, feel free to lower down, extending the arm out, and maybe resting here, or placing your hand to support you out front. Play around with where you'd like your elbow to be, trying to bring your elbow directly under your shoulder can be a little more stable, and then turning the hand towards the side of your mat. There you go. Yeah, then just really pressing through that forearm as if you're lifting up out of the earth here. Seeing if you can find some stillness here, connecting with your breath, the sensations that may arise. Our affirmation here in stillness, I discover the wisdom that resides within me. In stillness, I discover the wisdom that resides within me. Five more breaths here. You can do hard things, but if your body is telling you no, go ahead and lower down to the floor. It's okay to rest. And that last exhale, slowly lower down, bringing the right arm out, just resting here, pausing with your head, resting on your arm, maybe using your left hand for support. When you're ready, moving into the opposite side. So rolling over, I'm going to swing my legs around so that I'm not facing away from you. You can get there however you'd like. Finding the alignment that works best for you. The elbow stacked under the shoulder, beautiful. And the more we press into the earth and rely on the earth for support here, pushing up away using that forearm, your elbow, and not allowing yourself to really sink down into that shoulder, you may find a little more ease in this posture. As you breathe, feeling into the opening on the left side body, breathing into all of those spaces, your intercostals, stretching a little here. Three more breaths here. Last exhale, placing the right hand in front for support. support and extending that left arm out all the way, resting here. And when you're ready, rolling over onto your back. Begin with your knees bent here, feet hip distance apart. And just gently moving the knees side to side. Just feeling into our hips here, giving our lower back a little bit of a massage. You can maybe place a blanket under your lower back if you need a little extra cushioning. And coming back through center, moving into figure four, placing the right ankle behind the left knee. Just leaving that left foot in contact with the floor for now. Flex the toes back towards the knee. And gently think about that right knee moving towards the back of the room, back of your mat. Even if it's just a gentle intention to move it there. And then, of course, if that doesn't feel good to you, that's okay. We're meeting our bodies where they are. We're saying, I love you. Thanks for being here. I'm going to do what you want. And maybe backing off a little bit. And if at any time you would like to deepen this stretch a little, you can place a block underneath that left foot, or you can reach through and interlace the fingers behind the right or left thigh, drawing the left knee. You okay? That's okay. Reaching through and interlacing the hands behind the left thigh, if that feels good to you. Flexing the toes back towards the knees. Exhale, lower that left foot down towards the earth and keeping that shape with the right knee crossed over, or the right ankle crossed over the left knee. Gently allow that knee to drop towards the left side. Just a brief little twist here. And coming back through center, releasing, unwinding, and maybe pulling the knees in towards the chest or bringing the legs out long and taking a stretch. Before coming into the opposite side, so knees bent, feet hip distance apart, bringing the left ankle to the right knee. Flexing those toes back towards that left knee. And just being here for a moment, feeling into the stretch in your left hip, thigh. If you would like to bring your right foot on top of a block or reaching through and interlacing the fingers behind the right thigh. Remember that no variation is better than another. There's just better for your body today. That's all that matters, whatever it is. We often tend to think that we need to be somewhere, try to move into a deeper expression. There's no pose hierarchy. We're here to strengthen the relationship with our body, with our mind, to connect. And that means to also listen and know that every day is different. And if you've reached through, lowering that foot down to the mat, keeping that same shape, and then gently allowing the right knee and the sole of the left foot to come towards the earth. Gentle twist here. Just a breath or two. Inhale, drawing the knees gently back up through center. Unwinding. And taking whatever counter stretch feels good to your body here. Pulling the knees in or stretching, maybe windshield wipering the knees back and forth. And we'll move into a supported bridge. So grabbing a block or a pillow, some type of support, and bringing the knees bent, hip distance apart with the feet here. Press through the soles of the feet, lifting the hips gently and placing a block under the sacrum. You could also choose to not place a block here and just to bend the knees, just to rest. Placing the hands on the rib cage, connecting here with the breath from the outside in. Often we think about connecting with the breath from the inside out. What does it feel like on the inside? But with our hands placed here, we can feel with the palms of our hands, with our fingertips, what the breath feels like on the outside in. And if you opted to use a block, pressing through the feet, lifting the hips, removing the prop, and slowly lowering down, bringing the soles of your feet together, letting the knees fall open for supported butterfly. Maybe placing the blocks under your knees or your thighs for support, maybe a blanket or pillows if you're at home. Arms can come to the sides, palms facing up, or they can remain on your rib cage, whatever feels good to you. If you're tuning into your breath and feeling it from the outside inward, and that feels like where you need to be, where you can connect, feel free to do that. Feel free to stay here or release props and extend the legs out long for your final Shavasana. Taking up some space on your mat, letting the feet fall open, arms remaining at your sides, but maybe a little further out, palms facing up or down. And allow yourself to just be here. Maybe coming into awareness of how you're feeling after today's practice. Just out of curiosity, just feeling into spaces within your physical body or into your intention with just a gentle awareness and noticing of what's there without any stories. Notice if your practice today shifted your perspective, how you feel. There's no right or wrong way to practice, to be here. This is your time. Rest. Allow the body, the mind, and the spirit to integrate the work that you've done. And begin to wiggle the fingers and toes, making soft, gentle movements. Maybe taking a big stretch all the way from the fingertips to the toes. And making your way to a seated position facing me. Close the eyes and take a moment. Hands over the heart center. Cleansing breath in through the nose. Exhale, sigh it all out. Taking a moment to express gratitude towards yourself for creating this space, this container, to look at your practice, look at your experience with a new perspective, to maybe foster a more gentle and kind approach to ourselves, or even just to ask ourselves what we need. What do we need? And to tune in and to listen from the wisdom within. To begin to hear the call of our heartfelt devotion. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice of Yin Yoga and practice of community, of surrender, stillness, and deep listening. It is my greatest wish that you carry this practice with you throughout 2024, throughout your evening, and that you connect back to this moment of truly listening from within. Satnam, may you align with your favorite version of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.